Hello and welcome to my world of crochet. My name is Dina and today I'm here with you for another yarn talk video. And as you know, we cannot talk yarn without me here having my faithful mug of tea, which today contains this loose blend I bought in Germany back some time ago, which is named the Ettlinger Alstersmission. This tea is, as I mentioned, a loose blend tea. It's a black tea with a lemon and pineapple flavor. So it's a fruity black tea and it's quite enjoyable here in the summertime. At least I'm convinced it has this sort of summery flavor. So there's plenty of things to go through, and as you have noticed, I have finished my vest. So I am going to show you that one in just a few. But yeah, we really have lots of things going through. Yesterday I posted a shopping tour video because I had this sort of issue in my kitchen that my pan broke down and I had to get a new one, but it was a great excuse to go shopping as well when I was in that mall. And by the looks, a lot of you really enjoyed that video. I cannot promise that I will do it more often, but what I will do is when I do have the opportunity to do so and when it fits into my agenda, I will try to visit some of these stores a bit more often to see if we can keep a bit track on what they have in stock or if it changes. So, you know, and of course, I'm still keen if I have the opportunity sometime in the future to visit other stores here in Europe or whatever when I kind of encounter yarn stores. It's not like there is a lot of them around in this area. But if I get around one, I will definitely try to visit it. Of course, some of them are privately smaller owned and you really need to ask for permission before you just walk in and record all the shelves, or they might look a bit weird on you. So it also depends on people's permissions and approvals. But yeah, so lots of things has been going on. I had a medical appointment yesterday and it went fine. I do have a new checkup in 2 weeks also on Monday morning. So in 2 weeks time, Monday morning, the yarn talk will also be on a Tuesday, but you know, I will put a reminder out on that next week. Where next week, Monday, we're just having a yarn talk just as very normal, nothing crazy there. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about this vest because I finally finished it. I do have a little yarn left and I ended up using almost 3 cakes of them, and it was the twister cakes, so twister solid. I do have, I need to get up for you to see this anyway, so I'm just gonna get up. I'm putting my chair a bit backwards so I can easier stand here. So this would be how it looks, basically. So this is the vest. And it's, as you can see, it's oversized, but honestly, even though it's oversized, I think, and I'm sorry for you not being able to see my face, I think this actually succeeded a lot better than I had expected, and it's not as oversized as I thought it would going to be. So even though that the pieces look insanely huge and I thought I was gonna be like swimming in it, I actually think this turned out really, really well. And as you can see, it is very drapey, so it's a wonderful pattern. I can recommend. And I actually took some of these sewing labels and I sewed on down here saying handmade with love. I thought that would just being a really, really nice edge. So that's here down at the right bottom corner. I thought that was a great idea. So I actually really like it. So the only thing that I'm debating on, because it does roll a little bit, is if I should block it. Or also alternatively, which said in the pattern that you could add a border of single crochets. So I might do that, add a border, and I might block it. I haven't really decided yet. And let's see, so I'm gonna sit down again. It was the twister solid cakes that I used for it. Here's the label for it. So it's 55% cotton and 45% acrylic. It was the colorway 107. And each cake is 100 grams and 400 meters. So that's about 3.5 ounces and 437 yards. They recommend crochet hook 3.5 to 4 millimeter. I've used 3.5 millimeter for this one, and I think it turned out really nice, drapey and lacy. And you know, the pattern is nice and visible. The first part here and around there goes down straight, and then you get the V shape towards here. Let's see, if I do like this, you can see it better, I think. Yeah. So that's kind of the vest. You know, I think it's good for a chill summer night where you just need a little bit extra or the like. Right now I'm just carrying it because I think it's nice for you guys to see it. And it has cooled down here. Like, had this been last week, I would definitely not have worn it. Until Sunday, in fact, Sunday evening, we had really, it was like into the 90s in Fahrenheit. So it was like, and like, it was top 30, like it was like 32, 33-ish degrees Celsius. It was pretty warm and was humid. But there was like no wind moving, nothing. It was just like scorching. And a long time ago, like more than 10 years ago, I've had a visit to the Americas and to the States. It was before I started crocheting a bit. So again, but I've been visiting the States twice, and I can tell you that 30 degrees, not 30, yeah, 30 degrees Celsius in Europe, especially here in the Netherlands, feels a lot warmer than 30 degrees in Georgia, in America, in Atlanta. Just saying. I don't know if any of you guys Americans can compare to it, but here it just feels more humid and more hot. It's how it is. So yeah, so I had all the cakes in this small bowl because they fit perfectly, and as you can see, this is the amount of yarn I have left. And I then still have a full cake, so full small cake. The real question I'm asking myself at the moment is if I should make this one single crochet border all the way around. I haven't really made up my mind for that just yet. I do have the yarn to do it. I just haven't decided if I'm gonna do it yet. I think that's kind of the end result on this. Then, of course, I am progressing pretty well, I would say, but yet not that much. I've done 1 round and a third on my baby blanket. One of the reasons that I've not done a lot is actually this heat that we had last week. And when you're sitting with a blanket that's now about 60 by 60, a bit more, 65-ish by 65-ish or so, it's pretty warm. This is pretty warm sitting with me, like on my legs and stuff like that. So it's just somehow the project's been feeling too big to kind of work with because it's getting this big. And you know, when you're working on something, it kind of weighs on you, and when it's too warm, it's just not been too comfortable to work on, to be honest. So I've optioned for some of my more lighter projects, but I did complete basically, so this is where I ended, and then let's see if I can do it like this. That's probably better. So I ended here last Yarn Talk video, so last week Monday, and then I did the shell stitches all the way to this corner, so a full side to here, which is the start and end point of each round. And then I made a full round of the V stitches, preparing for a new round of shell stitches. So that's what I made of it. And it's not progressed a lot, it's progressed. And looking, I measured it to have an idea of how the diameter was. And based on what I wanted to obtain, we're about 2/3. So there is still a while to go. But yeah, with the 30+ degrees that we have had for more than a week, it was just like last week, it just felt too warm to work on. Like when I picked it up, I was sitting there for like maybe 15 minutes and I was like, oh my God, like, no, this is too warm. I need something lighter, something easier. So like cotton or whatever. Of course, I did spend some time sewing this one together, which went remarkably easy once I've laid it out. So I really enjoyed like sewing this piece together. That went really, really nice and easy. It was very smooth, especially here at the top part. Went super nice because I could grab this crochet stitches because, you know, it's crocheted in that direction. So that was really, really nice and easy to sew together. And it went maybe faster than I had expected, especially up here. Here on the sleeves, it took a bit longer, but yeah. So the baby blanket is doing well. I am using the ice, and as you can see here, this cake is almost not there anymore. I will need a new skein of white before I even get close to adding the pink, I think. Again, I will continue working on it. We will see, and I'm having at least 1/3 more to go before I'm done with it, because I want it to be like a minimum a meter by meter. It seems like a really nice size. So yeah, that has lots of work to go in it still, that's for sure. Then I am also working and progressing, I would say, decently well on my leafy shawl. And there has been a few suggestions for names. Mosaic, leaf, diamond leafed. I will figure out a name for it. Not even sure if it has a name for a design out there somewhere, but in the end, as you can see, we are growing. And what you also can see is we changed color. We are now going into a lighter green. So actually it's getting so white now that when I hold it up, you can't get it in the whole screen unless I go really far behind on my chair. So next week I'm expecting that I can't do that anymore. And that's all right, not a problem. So what can I say? So I started here last week where this one is sitting, and then you can see the amount I've been adding. So that's about a half row. Let's count it as a half row because it's not that far from the point or the bottom or the point, the end, or whatever we should call it. So I added half a row plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7.5 rows. And now I'm removing it because I will start at the end of a row for next time. One of the reasons that obviously that I've been able to make this many rows is two things. One is the fact that we were visiting my in-laws and I decided to bring this project with me. So I was sitting there for a good hour or so. I finished, I think, one full row there. That was actually the last row I did, so that was Saturday. I didn't feel that well Sunday, so I didn't do much Sunday. But that was Saturday. I finished the last full rows there, and my mom-in-law is absolutely adoring this piece. She's like, wow, that's impressive. And the first thing she said, oh my God, why are you crocheting now? Why do you want to make a shawl right now? It's summer, like you're not gonna use it. And I'm like, it's not about when I need to use it. It's about me enjoying what I'm doing and spending my time in what I think seems to be a good way. I have moments like last week I had a work meeting and it was off camera and I just had to be present. So I was listening and I was crocheting for half an hour. Boss, please don't listen. But, and I crocheted my breaks, for instance. But yeah, so that's how we are progressing, and I think it's really nicely shown here. You can see if I do like this, you can see the dark to the lighter to the almost mint green here. If I take the cake up here, you can see that I am also slowly going into this full mint green, and we will have again this melange or mixed or variegated medium mint to the lighter mint here in the center. Cake wise, I'm about 1/3 into the cake, so it will still be a bit before I'm done. But yeah, it's turning out really nice, and this is also quite drapey, and it's 100% cotton. It's the cotton cake from Stanley. The cotton cakes from Stanley are 250 grams, and for those 250 grams you get 1,000 meters of yarn. So they're quite similar to like Hobby's Twister cakes, except for the fact that these are 100% cotton, and they are thinner. I'm using a 3mm crochet hook for this. So this is just made with a 3mm crochet hook. It's a 1-threaded yarn. So let's see if I can find the yarn piece up here. So as you can see, this is just one thread. They're wound together, so spun together. So this is just a spun cotton thread. It's quite soft for cotton, and they actually say that you need, I do believe they recommend crochet hook 2 to 3mm or so. So yeah, it is thin cotton. And you can also feel that when you're working with it, but it works up really nicely. And with the 3mm hook, I think it goes really well. You could maybe option for 2.75mm hooks, though there are not that many brands creating that size. I did not test with 2.5. I just instantly used the 3mm for this project. It seems to be a good fit. I don't know if I should have hooked down. Maybe I would for a new project with a similar cake. I do have more colorways of this laying around. Not for this intended pattern, but who knows, for some future new pattern. I have 2 hooks that I'm using, and that's just because I can't find out which I feel is the better. The one is my Prim woolen hook. So yeah, I would use this for wool, and I used it for my socks. It's great because of the pointy end. It's a quite pointy hook, and that goes for all the other hooks of the Prim line as well. Let's see, the 4.5mm hook that I'm using for my baby blanket is here. You can see it has a pointy end as well. It's an inline hook, which means that the side of the hook here is in line with the shaft of the crochet piece before you get to the handle. This is also Prim, so these are Prim hooks. So this is the 3mm I'm using, but I am also, as of recently, I bought the Clover hooks of the salt. Let's try once more. Clover's a soft touch hook. Clover is a Japanese brand. Prim is German, and that's this hook. It's a 3mm hook, though I miss it slightly more pointy, but it's okay. It's not an inline hook in the same way, but it's not that far out either. That said, I have the feeling when you look under the hook here, this one has more to grab with compared to this one. It has a longer shaft. The longer shaft is really comfy when you, like me, hold the hook in a knife position. This is at the shorter end, but as I get used to it, it's getting more comfortable. I had some people suggesting pencil grips. So to add a pencil grip here to, I think, extend the shaft. If you happen to use pencil grips with any of your crochet hooks and you know where you got them, especially if you got them on, for example, Amazon or whatever, could I get you to drop the name of those pencil grips or a link to them or something like that in your comments down below? Because I am going to say if I could look for some and see if that would make it kind of feel better. What I do like about these hooks is the metal piece here. It goes really butter soft through this cotton yarn. That's a real pleasure. So as I mentioned in my last yarn talk video, I really wish if there was, of these two hooks, if there was some sort of mutation or hybrid, so I could take the best of both. That would be so awesome. I guess you can't always get what you want. But as you know, of this shawl, I am going to make a tutorial, and I did not manage to start last week. That's a combination of several things. There was many things to do at work compared to what I had hoped for. And it was warm, so when I wasn't really in the mood to do stuff as much as I normally would be. And I had a few days of not feeling my best either. So it was just a lot of things that was like compared for how I felt and how the world were turning here in my local area and everything. I made good progress on my projects, and I'm absolutely not dissatisfied. I just did not reach the start on the tutorial. The tutorial I am going to make in this hobby twister cake. So as you can see, it's still whole, and therefore, as mentioned, I did not start yet. I have stuff scheduled, and I will definitely get started this week. But since this is also 1,000 meters of yarn, it will take a while before this tutorial is done. So please embrace yourself with some patience. I would absolutely appreciate if you do. Since I will be traveling in the end of August to my parents, that's gonna be amazing. It would be super amazing if I can manage to have the tutorial finished and launched when I'm there instead of my normal yarn talk video on that Monday. So that's currently my goal. If I'm gonna make that, that's a whole other story. It gives me roughly 2 months from today to get it crocheted, finished, and edited. So that's my hope. And we will see if I'm gonna succeed on that. I'm going to start on the outside and work on towards the inside because I have this idea that would be the prettiest. It's a bit like fall colors, so it would be like fall leaves going towards falls. That's falling down, and I am really looking forward to making this piece with this yarn. As I mentioned, this is a hobby twister. It's their colorway called 52, and it's called Zen Garden. Zen Garden is 55% cotton and 45% acrylics. It's 250 grams, gives you 1,000 meters. They recommend 3.5 to 4 millimeter crochet hook. I'm expecting that I'm probably gonna use the 3.5 millimeter for this project. It can be washed at 40 degrees. It can be ironed, lay flat to dry, considered a 2-weight fine yarn, designed in Denmark, produced in Turkey. And it's a really nice, soft yarn to work with. And I know because I've worked in the solid twister, which is basically like this, but in a solid color format. So it is a wonderful yarn to work with. And this was worked in a 3 millimeter and turned out pretty drapey. Therefore, I think I will be working in a 3 millimeter for this tutorial as well. That makes the best sense. And I will definitely get started on this week. So with a bit of luck, within 2 months, we should have a tutorial. Let's hope. Sorry about that. I just got disturbed. Let's get back to it. So I still have 2 things to go in this yarn talk video before we're going to talk a little bit about scheduling and what's coming up. But yeah, first I would like to say cheers to my tea. It's still Tuesday morning here. The next thing that I've been working on is a hat in this umami yarn that I showed you. And a part of the time it was too warm to work with, so I didn't do much. And then I started working on it and I flocked it because it was too big. And I based it on the hat that I made, or hat or beanie, whatever you should call it, that I made a few weeks ago, maybe a month or so, which is this one. It's just a plain, bulky acrylic yarn. It's a nice yarn. Nothing really fancy to say about it, except, yeah, it's just a hat. Doesn't even have a pom-pom. Maybe I'll add one. I don't know. I don't even know if I would have enough yarn for it. I know I have enough yarn to make an extra hat, and then if I have yarn left, I will see if there's enough of that yarn to maybe make a pom-pom. The thing is, these hats are going to go, they're being donated, and they're being donated to a really good course in Denmark, which helps people in need, helps people that's financially not able to, they're homeless basically. But the thing is, being homeless in Denmark, sometimes it's of a choice. But yeah, basically they're gonna help, being donated to a course that's helping people with lesser financial means. And in the winter, they spend a lot of their time outdoors, and sometimes they do have shelters where they can go and sleep. But still, Danish winters can sometimes be really brutal. Generally, compared to many other winters at many other places, they're reasonably mild. That's due to how the water streams are. We get the Gulf Stream comes up from via the Atlantic Ocean and enters into the North Sea, or that's around where it ends. So we have somewhat milder winters because we have a lot of ocean around Denmark. And that's also one of the reasons we have milder summers, because the ocean keeps us a bit cool, but it also keeps us a bit warm. So it's kind of having the opposite effect each winter or summer. But generally, we can sometimes have some rough winters where it gets like -20 in the night. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And then I thought it was really nice to at least provide some hats or some clothes, because it can also definitely be freezing over day. And if you spend your time outdoor trying to do stuff, then if you have lesser means, having a hat for free is maybe a good thing. So I decided some of all my yarns that I did not know what I would use for, or had no intended projects, I decided to use those to donate to a good cause and simply make some hats. So therefore I made this hat a while ago, and I think people would appreciate an extra hat rather than one hat with one pom-pom. That's me. If people can choose, I'm sure they would rather have 1 or 2 extra hats than a hat that looks a bit fancier. So I started on the umami yarn, and the umami yarn is using, so I used a 9mm crochet hook for this one. The umami yarn, which I shared in my last yarn talk video, says I need a 10mm crochet hook. So I found my 10mm prim crochet hook. The reason for that is that I'm using the umami tweed yarn, which is 20% wool. These are great for wool. As you can see, we are still having an inline hook here with a reasonably pointy end. So it works really nice. It's really nice to poke it into the stitches, and you have less chance of splitting basically. So that's really, really nice to work with. That said, this umami yarn doesn't really split that much on me at all, so that's really nice. But I flogged the project 3 times, I think. The first thing I thought, okay, since the yarn weight is very close to being like this, I'm just gonna copy this. Keep it simple, not think too much about it. That means that I am going to make the first round, I have 12, like I have a magic circle, and then I do 12 double crochets into it. In those 12 double crochets, I do 2 double crochets in each stitch, so I have 24. After that, I do 2 double crochets, single double crochet, 2 double crochets, a single double crochet, etc., all the way around. And I did a 4th round as well, where I did 1 double crochet, and then I did 2 single and 1 double and 2 single, etc. And then I just did single double crochets all the way around. So 1 double crochet in each stitch, so to say. And that turned out like this, and it was perfect for the size. It's maybe at the large size. So I kind of hoped I would have the same with the umami yarn. As you can see here, I've wound it up because I flogged it. And that's the second half of the skein even. This is what I have left from the first half. I flogged it because the first I made was way too big. And I mean, when I say way too big, I really mean way too big. I was like, I had room to add like a fist underneath the brim. So I flocked it. I was like, okay, instead of doing double crochets, I'll add a round of single crochets. That's probably gonna be fine. And I finished it as good as with this. And it was way too big still. So I flocked it again, and I decided to, so I flocked it twice. I thought it was 3 times. Maybe it's just twice. So I flocked it again. So I basically finished the skein almost completely twice. The first time I still had maybe 20 meters left on the skein. It was, I think it's like 150 grams gives you 85 meters or something like that. I was definitely 2/3 through the skein, and I wound it up on the skein, and I started over. And the second time with the single round of single crochets, I had finished more or less the full skein. There was that left. I decided just to wind the skein up anew. Halfway through the skein, I had a knot where the yarn was knotted together, probably because it ran out while they were winding it up. I don't like those knots. I basically cut them up and just enter the yarn as well in a new way, and I will sew the ends in. So that's why I currently have sort of 2 halves. So this second attempt is where we are at, and I've only done 12 double crochets here in the center, and then I've done 2 double crochets in each stitch for the second round, and the third round is 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, and then after I just started doing double crochets in each stitch all the way around. And that's where we are right now. I will need a few rounds to still complete. This is where we're at. It will be smaller than this, but I did quick test it, and it seems like it fits me. So I'm probably like a medium size, I think, head-wise. So this is gonna probably be like small to medium, where this is definitely large head-wise. But it's good, you know, we have different people, different that can use things. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna continue on finishing up this one, adding this second part of the skein. And now you can also see how this tweed yarn works up. That's at least the positive part of this. It works up really nicely. I can tell you, when you're flocking this tweed yarn, it becomes a bit of a mess. I was wearing this black sweater on yesterday, or not sweater, black top, and it was getting fluffy because of the wool content, and then it had sprinkles, like all these tweed sprinkles you have here. It's green or yellow or pink or orange or whatever. All these sprinkles, they tend to fall out as well when you're flocking it, or fall out. Some of them falls out. And then, you know, I was a bit colorful. Of course, I can laugh of it here in hindsight, but it was indeed a bit funny. So the last thing that I am working on right now is a new project that I started, that I mentioned last week that I would start on. Of course, the hat here is also a new project, and I'm probably gonna finish up this hat, and then I will be starting on the tutorial more or less. At least that's the plan, because the hat is currently in this project container, and I will be using this project container for the tutorial project. And here we have the label for the tweed, umami tweed. That's about it. But so in that project container, I use project containers for most of my projects, because I use these small containers. They're really nice and easy to work around with for whatever project you're making. So and this will be really good because I will be working from the outside in, and I think it's nice just to have it standing in a container like that, so I can easily wind up the yarn from it. I have debated if I should get one of those yarn pins. They look like kitchen paper holders, where you can like insert a pin in the cake, and then you can like wind it off from there. Let me know if you have experience with those for your skeins, and if what you find about them. I would like to know. I have definitely been debating on buying one. I might buy one regardless of what you say though. Again, it's just thoughts. If you have experience on what you find of using them, let me know, comments down below. But the last project that we have to discuss today is the Oasis cardigan. And this Oasis cardigan is something that I started working on this week. In fact, I started on it this weekend. I think I began Saturday. I am working in this Drops Baby Merino yarn, and it is so, it's soft and squishy. This is the cake I am working from, and I could sleep with this, I could snuggle this. It's a very gorgeous yarn. Drops, you scored a killer. It's 100% merino, and it's superwash merino, so it can handle a washing machine should you need that. I have done the first, let me just count for a minute so I don't lie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds, excluding the magic circle. Well, it's not a magic circle even, it's actually just a chain, and that you closed it. So, but that's so far the amount of work I've done. It's not looking like much, it's more like just a circle. And as you can see, we can put a big background on it here. As you can see, I have like some, I'm not even sure what they call them, just one moment, because I do have the pattern here. They're called fans. So I made 8 chains, which I slip stitched together in a circle. And in those I inserted 7 fans and 2 double crochets and a fan, 2 double crochets and a fan. And I repeated that 7 times. So now you have basically 7 going out like this, and the fans keeps getting added into the fan area, as you can see here. Let's talk shortly about the yarn just before I forget that, and then we'll discuss the pattern and my thoughts about that in a few. This yarn, it was not that easy to read on the label when it's like this, but of course I had to take the label off and we can discuss it in close-up. And I remember it was even difficult to give details when I picked up the yarn. I picked that up in a yarn haul about a month ago, a bit less than a month ago, 3 weeks or so. I will add to that, add a link to the yarn haul description box down below. You can rewatch it if you want. That's also the yarn haul where I got the accessories in the shape of the lovely clover soft touch hooks, and I will make a review on those a bit later when I have more experience using them. But it is baby merino. It says mixed down here, and it's superwash treated extra fine merino wool. It's 100% merino wool. It's made in the EU. It's the colorway 22, which is a light gray color. The Drops classify this as the yarn group A. Yarn group A is basically just a fine weight yarn. They recommend a 3mm crochet hook, even though that I'm using a 3.5mm for this pattern. This is also what's recommended by the pattern that's provided by Drops. Garn Studio is the website where they do have free patterns. And I did a test swatch quickly, and I fit the gauge, so therefore I'm not gonna, like, I'm surprised actually for once I fit a gauge and I don't need to adapt. That's amazing. Hey, hooray. No, so each of these balls are 50 grams each, and they come with 175 meters of yarn. And as I mentioned, they are 100% merino wool, and they have been superwash treated, so you can wash them at 40 degrees Celsius in the washing machine even. Do not iron, you can iron them, but do lay flat to dry. So do not put these guys in a dryer, and don't hang them up. They are really lay flat to dry projects. Don't bleach, don't topple dry. Don't use too much deterrent, so that kind of destroys the superwash feeling. So basically just a little bit of soap should be enough. And it does say, for washing purposes, keep all labels until garment is finished. Follow washing temperature. Do not use too much detergent. Wash inside out. Don't let garment soak, so it's not a soaking project. Don't use fabric softener. Absolutely no softener. And gentle agitation only and dry flat. So basically, don't spin it. So like if you do your whitewash, it will like do a lot of rotations. Make sure it's a gentle wash you do if you use the washing machine. You can always option to hand wash, of course, and not too much soap. But yeah, I'm looking forward for this to be finished. I am linking to the pattern in the description box down below as well. It's called Oasis and it's by Drops Design. So I checked the pattern by Drops on their website. And of course I printed it out. Let me see if I can actually just, because I tend to fiddly. Oh, probably like this, I think. This is how it looks. This is just me writing down the sizes I need and the amount of yarns I need. You can print their patterns. They come with a very nice description and on how to do things. They come with a diagram explanation, and you have here the diagrams that you will need for it. It's worked in a circle way. So basically this is the centerpiece of my back. And I will be working around. Eventually we'll make gaps for the arms and so on. And they actually did have a nice drawing on that here. So this is the first time I make a project like this. Never tried it before. Ever, never. Good luck, Stina. What did I get myself into? That was basically also what I thought when I was going through the pattern the first time around. I've been reading it through and I was like, okay, stop just thinking the picture is amazing, I'm gonna do that. But as well, I said, I always like a challenge. I'm on for the challenge. So far it's going better than I thought. I only flocked it twice because first I simply misunderstood the pattern. There is this place where it says, let me see, I just need to turn it. It says here, worked in the round from the middle of the circle and outwards. Work 8 chains on hook size 3.5 millimeters with yarn. Form a ring with a slip stitch in the first chain. Easy. Then repeat A1, which is basically this diagram, 7 times in total. I was just being like, okay, I started on A1 and I have to repeat it 7 times, that's 8. But then I looked at the picture, luckily they do have pictures, and look at the back, and I was like, okay, there's only 7 of those going out. So 7 times in total means including the first repeat. So I flocked it and I made 7, and that's how I'm working from now. And basically I'm reading this very, very carefully, and a part of it is probably a little bit like winging it, and a part of it is probably going all right. I've no clue when I'm gonna be done with this cardigan, but I do know that I really enjoy working on this yarn, and it is a challenge. And you know, I saw lots of people having questions for Drops about the pattern because they did not understand the pattern. I don't blame them, and I didn't see that many replies, and they just don't come written. So yeah, I'm in for a challenge, and I will persevere and I will succeed. That's the end goal. And who knows, maybe I should end up making a written version for them just for this, for the sake of it. I don't know if I do or if I don't. I did it for the socks, and for the socks I made last winter, I wrote it down for myself, because some of it was, I was winging it simply because the pattern ended up not fitting completely with my tension, but the socks ended up fitting. I might end up doing the same with this one, even though I don't need to make a copy of it, because I think it's gonna be a one-time only project. Time will see. But it just comes down to the conclusion that Drops crochet patterns are not easy to read. So really can't blame if people are challenged with it. And I can also understand why some people prefer tutorials by videos on YouTube, or just by reading them as how the patterns are written, and some people have it easier with that. I don't know. Do you follow diagrams when you crochet? Do you follow patterns, like written out patterns when you crochet? Or do you just crochet out of your free mind? How do you actually What do you do when you're following specific crochet designs? Like, let me know. I'm curious. Description box again. Oh, not description box. Comments down below. This video is turned out to be really, really long, so it's time to wrap it up. And if you haven't done it yet and you like yarn talks and yarn content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. This week we will draw the winner of my giveaway, and we will draw that one on Thursday morning. And therefore I also link to that giveaway in the description box down below. Just if you haven't participated yet, it would be a shame not to miss out on it. So do go check if you have entered and watch that video in full and enter. And on Friday, we do have a yarn haul video, and that yarn haul video is from Hobby. It's been a while, so I have an amazing yarn haul from Hobby coming up on Friday. And then we will be back next Monday with a new yarn talk video. Take care until I see you again. Bye.